Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here with Gamefromscratch, and we have yet even more news from the Unity shenanigans, and this is, it's good news, actually. It's good news if you're a developer in the indie game engines, especially if it's Godot or FNA, because Relogic have just announced they're making a huge donation to both of those projects. So, let's go through, first off, what Relogic is all about. I'm not going to explain what Godot is at this point, I think you probably know, but I will explain a little bit later about what FNA is, because you probably don't on that one. So first, the announcement. Relogic, these are the makers of Terraria, a very cool indie game that has done quite successfully. Basically, they just released this announcement. The team at Relogic has been watching the recent events surrounding Unity with both interest and sadness. The loss of a formerly leading and user-friendly game engine to the darker forces that negatively impact so much of the gaming industry has left us dismayed, to put it mildly. While we do not personally use Unity outside of a few elements on our console/mobile platforms, we feel like we cannot sit idly by as these predatory moves are made against studios everywhere. We unequivocally condemn and reject the recent terms of service/fee changes proposed by Unity and the underhanded way they were rolled out. The flippant manner with which years of trust cultivated by Unity were cast aside for yet another way to squeeze publishers, studios, and gamers is the saddest part. That this move was wholly unnecessary pushes things into tragedy category, a cautionary tale the industry will not soon forget. We do not feel that a simple public statement is sufficient, and it'd be cool if so many other studios go down this road as well. Even if Unity were to recant their policies and statements, the destruction of trust is not so easily repaired. We strongly feel that it is now equally important to get behind some of the other up-and-coming open-source game engines, lighting some candles in an otherwise dark moment. To that end, we are donating $100,000 to each of these open-source engines listed below. Additionally, we're sponsoring each of these projects with $1,000 per month each month moving forward. All we ask in return is that remain good people and keep doing all they can to make these engines powerful and approachable for developers everywhere. So the two engines in question are the Godot game engine and FNA. Like I said, you probably all know what the Godot game engine is by now. FNA, I will explain in a second. Relogic has always been supportive of game developers and indie studios that do things the right way. We feel that our actions in this moment are the best way to carry that mission forward by accelerating and strengthening competing open source game engines. We hope to empower and assist studios that are struggling with how to best proceed given these recent events. So pretty awesome move by Relogic. $100,000 to Godot, $100,000 to FNA, plus $1,000 a month to both of them to support their development going forward. For FNA, that's going to be absolutely massive. Now, I'm not saying it's not massive for Godot, but for FNA, the level of funding that represents is just next level. So FNA, you probably have never heard of it. There's a good chance. This is like Mono Game based off of FNA, which was Microsoft's framework for developing games, which Terraria was originally made on. FNA exists as a re-implementation of it specifically for porting games. So it's been used to work with a large number of games out there. It is a completely open source project. And again, the entire idea behind FNA was to be as compatible as possible to the original FNA while being able to run on as many platforms as possible. So FNA supports Windows, Mac OS, GNU Linux with a single assembly file. They don't use preprocessor conditionals for platforms. Their platform model requires that we build a library that works on any platform, regardless of where it was built. When you build an FNA title with Visual Studio, you can expect it to function on Windows, Mac, and Linux with one set of output assemblies. Additionally, FNA has support for iOS, tvOS, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, and Google Stadia. Well, at least it used to. Yeah, and it's they use strictly free open source software in FNA. FNA project will not act as a gateway into proprietary products. You should be able to freely do what you wish with our software and the software we use to provide. We believe in an incredibly important project in preserving FNA and the games that were built with them. While it is certainly possible to use FNA to target closed platforms and technologies, we do not want to impose those restrictions on our development process. So that's kind of the idea behind FNA. Again, this is going to be a huge donation for them. I wonder if we can see their current donation level. No, I don't think we can see the total. Oh yeah, so they're working towards a goal of $1,250 a month. So they're 96% of the way to that $1,250. So now they're at, let's see, 22 50, and they have a $100,000 war chest to work with as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the news. A pretty short story, but a kind of a heartwarming story. I think we could use something like that right now. Relogic very much putting their money where their mouth is, helping to support open source engines, and it's staggering what this is going to do for the open source world. And I wonder if we're going to see other people kind of follow suit down this road. Pretty impressive move. Relogic, kudos to you. Great job. And you guys, let me know what you think. I'm assuming you've been exposed to the Godot engine at this point in time. Is the FNA new to you, or have you already heard of it? Let me know what you think of these developments in the comments down below, and I will talk to you all later. Goodbye.